Time for Countdown's #1 story, tonight's worst persons in the world. The bronze to Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann. Well, we were all laughing at her historical gaffe yesterday about Jimmy Carter and swine flu. Turned out she topped herself on the floor of the House. The Carter gaffe first. I find it interesting that it was back in the 1970s that the swine flu broke out under then another Democrat, President Jimmy Carter. And I'm not blaming this on President Obama. I just think it's an interesting coincidence. Yeah, the swine flu outbreak was in February 1976 when Republican Gerald Ford was president 11 months before Carter was inaugurated. But on the same day, she pulled this whopper. FDR applied just the opposite formula, the Hoot-Smalley Act, which was a tremendous burden on tariff restrictions and then, of course, trade barriers and the regulatory burden and taxpayers. That's what we saw happen under FDR. The American people suffered for almost 10 years under that kind of thinking. Seriously, Congresswoman, you're a buffoon. Smoot-Hawley, not Hoot-Smalley. It was the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act. And not only was it passed in 1930, 3 years before Franklin Roosevelt became president, but it was written by two Republicans, Senator Reed Smoot and Congressman Willis Hawley. And it was signed into law by a Republican president, Herbert Hoover, over the pleading of all the economists and the big bankers, even the head of J.P. Morgan. And it was repealed under FDR in 1934. I know, Congresswoman, you weren't paying attention in history class in high school. You were too busy going to the movies. But it was in the movies. In Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where Ben Stein, as the economics teacher, is asking his class, anyone raised or lowered? He's asking about the Smoot-Hawley Act. Hoot-Smalley. Hoot-Smalley! We let this woman vote on actual pieces of legislation. But it's worse than that. We let her drive a car. Hoot-Smalley! Runner-up Rupert Murdoch. The Audit Bureau reports the average American daily newspaper lost just over 7% of its circulation during the last 6 months compared to a year ago. Some did better, some did worse. The circulation of the LA Times dropped 6.6%. That of the New York Times dropped 3.6%. But the biggest loss in the top 25 markets, Murdoch's New York Post. Circulation is down 20.5%. The centerpiece of the Murdoch empire, the cornerstone of the reactionary, knee-jerk, half-fiction, racist, xenophobic, retaliatory conservative media, and 1 out of every 5 readers has vanished, 3 times as fast as New York Times readers. How can the stockholders of News Corp continue to indulge Rupert Murdoch's personal political agenda, vanity press? How can the folks not stand up and say, Rupert, you owe me money? But our winner, and this is the most despicable thing said on the floor of the House in decades. The Speaker is Congresswoman Virginia Foxx from the 5th District of North Carolina, Winston-Salem, arguing against passing the Matthew Shepard hate crimes bill.
The hate crimes bill that's called the Matthew Shepard bill is named after a very unfortunate incident that happened where a young man was killed. But we know that young man was killed in the commitment of a robbery. It wasn't because he was gay. The bill was named for him. The hate crimes bill was named for him. But it's really a hoax that continues to be used as an excuse for passing these bills.
Congresswoman Foxx, you are the only hoax here. One of Matthew Shepard's killers admitted under oath that he knew that he was gay, that they lured him from a bar by pretending to be gay themselves. Then they robbed him, pistol whipped him, fractured his skull, tortured him with a sharp implement, and they tied him to a fence post in rural Wyoming. He was not found for 18 hours. There is no excuse for Congresswoman Foxx's remarks. She is, at best, callous, insensitive, criminally misinformed. At worst, she is a bald-faced liar. And if there is a spark of a human being in there somewhere, she should either immediately retract and apologize for her stupid and hurtful words, or she should resign her seat in the House. She is not worthy to represent this country, nor any of its parties, nor any of its peoples. She is our shame. And adding to our shame, she said all that as Matthew Shepard's mother sat in the House gallery. Congresswoman Virginia Foxx, 5th District of North Carolina, today's worst person in the world.